when my 16-year-old grandson looked at me and said, "Grandpa, Christmas is for young people now. You wouldn't fit in." I just smiled. I grabbed my car keys and called Martha, my widowed neighbor. "Want to spend Christmas with a real family?" I asked. On the 25th, while they ate frozen pizza alone, I was at a table with 12 people who truly wanted me there. And that was just the beginning of a lesson they'll never forget. You won't believe what this boy dared to tell me, and even less what happened when he discovered that Grandpa's money had legs. But before I tell you how I turned the tables, you need to understand how we got here, how a 68-year-old man, widowed for 4 years, became a burden to his own family. It was there that I realized that love has an expiration date. My name is Robert. I'm 68 years old, and I worked for 45 years as an accountant at a construction company in Detroit. I raised my daughter Sarah alone after my wife died in an accident when Sarah was 12. I sacrificed everything for her. I worked double shifts, paid for private college, a dream wedding. When she had Tyler, my grandson, I thought I would finally have a complete family again. What an illusion. Sarah married Mark, a guy who always treated me like old furniture. But I swallowed it. After all, he made my daughter happy, and Tyler was my life. Or at least I thought he was. For the past 4 years since Linda died, I've become the family's personal bank. Tyler's allowance, overdue electricity bills, financing Sarah's new car. I even paid for their Orlando vacation. $85,000 in 4 years. $85,000 from my retirement fund, which Linda and I painstakingly saved up over decades. All because I believed family was forever. That blood of my blood meant something. But on December 15th, 2 weeks before Christmas, I discovered that to them, I was just a wallet with legs. Tyler arrived at my house, the same house where he grew up spending every weekend, where Grandma Linda made special cookies for him, where I taught him to ride a bike in the backyard and drop the bomb that changed everything. "Grandpa, we need to talk about Christmas." Tyler was standing in the doorway of my room, fiddling with his phone, barely looking at me. He had grown so much in the last 2 years, he was already taller than me, but he was still the boy I used to hold in my arms, who called me the best grandpa in the world. "Of course, my boy. Come in, sit here." I indicated the sofa where Grandma Linda always sat to watch him play. "I've thought of several things we can do. How about we put up that giant tree like in previous years? I can buy more lights, those flashing ones you like." He grimaced. "That's exactly it, Grandpa. Look, I've grown up, you know. My friends will be online playing games. There's a party at Jake's house. Christmas has become child's play. And you—" He paused, searching for the words. "You don't understand these modern things." I felt a chill in my stomach, but I tried to hide it. "Tyler, son, we always spend Christmas together. It's a tradition. 16 years in a row since you were born." My voice came out weaker than I wanted. "Before I tell you how an ungrateful grandson learned the true value of family, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because this story will show you that respect is taught and you can't miss the ending. Like the video if you also believe that a true family doesn't exploit those they love." "Exactly, Grandpa. 16 years doing the same boring thing, watching old movies, eating dry turkey, listening to you tell the same stories about Grandma Linda and the old days." He sighed as if he were explaining math to a child. "Christmas is for young people now. It's about energy, fun, things you can't keep up with." The words pierced my chest like ice. "And your parents? What do they think about this?" "My parents agree with me. They also want to try something different this year." Tyler finally looked me in the eye. "Grandpa, you wouldn't fit into our new Christmas. It would be awkward for everyone." It was there that I realized that children can turn into snakes when you least expect it. Embarrassing. 16 years taking him to the park, 15 years paying for private school, 10 years paying for tennis lessons, 5 years buying him the latest iPhone every time it came out. And now I was the embarrassing one. In the house, I helped renovate with the money I gave every month to the boy who wore clothes I bought. I understand. My voice came out calm, but something inside was breaking. And where are you going to spend Christmas? We're going to visit my aunt and uncle in Chicago. It's a Christmas just for the young family. He was already getting up, relieved that the conversation was over. But you can do anything, Grandpa. Watch some movies, order Chinese food. It'll be more relaxing for you too. He left, as if he'd just solved a nasty problem. I sat in that room, looking at Christmas photos from all the previous years. In all of them, Tyler was smiling in my lap, or holding the presents I bought, or playing with the toys that came out of my pocket. The house fell silent, except for the ticking of the clock Linda had received as a wedding gift. That's when I understood. To them, I had become that old relative nobody wants around, but who still comes in handy when the bills are tight. I sat at my dining table, the same one where Tyler did his homework while I helped with math, and started adding it all up. Not the love, the affection, the moments we'd shared. No, now I was going to count the money. Every single penny that had come out of my pocket for the modern young people who now found me embarrassing. I picked up my account notebook, the one every retired accountant has, and opened it to the first page. Sarah always complained that I wrote everything down, that it was an old man's obsession. Now I was grateful for that obsession. First entry, August 2020, $2,500 for Tyler's private school tuition, after Sarah said the public school didn't offer what he deserved. I remember her crying when she asked me, "Dad, it's your grandson's future. Don't you want him to have the best opportunities?" September 2020, $1,800 for uniform, school supplies, and a laptop for Tyler to study online. October, $900 for his first iPhone because all his friends had one. The entire year of 2021 was a bloodbath, $15,000, school, clothes, tennis equipment that he abandoned after 3 months, a trip to Orlando that was essential for his development, a summer course that cost him $3,000 for him to discover his vocation. 2022, $18,500. Now Tyler wanted guitar lessons, an advanced English course, another iPhone because the old one didn't have any more space, a makeover for his room because teenagers need privacy, and more school, always more school. 2023, $24,700. The year Tyler discovered he wanted to be an influencer, professional recording equipment, an online digital marketing course, designer clothes to build his image. Sarah came every month. "Dad, it's an investment in his future." And in 2024 so far, $23,300. Used car for Tyler to learn to drive, plus equipment, plus clothes. His credit card that I paid every month because teenagers don't have a concept of money yet. Total, $84,900 in 4 years. Almost my entire retirement fund that Linda and I saved penny by penny. The vacation money we never took because we were saving for the future. The money for the new car we never bought because the old one still worked. It was there that I realized that love without limits becomes exploitation. And now this boy, this Tyler who grew up in my pocket, who used my sweat to become a modern young man, was telling me that Christmas was only for young people, that I was embarrassing, that I didn't fit into the world that I paid for him to build. I closed my notebook and looked out the window. To the side, I saw Martha hanging the Christmas lights alone. She was also a widow, also 68 years old, also had family who only called when they needed something. But she always greeted me at the gate, always asked how I was. Simple people, without pretension, who still believed that education and respect never went out of style. That's when I had an idea. The following Wednesday, Sarah showed up at my house. Not to invite me for Christmas, not to apologize for what her son said. She came to pick up a check. Tyler's credit card payment was overdue, and they needed to pay it off before traveling to Chicago. "Hi, Dad." She didn't even hug me properly, just gave me a quick air kiss. Sorry for showing up like this, but it's kind of urgent. She went straight inside, as if my house were an extension of her own. Sarah, sit here with me. Let's talk about this Christmas thing. My voice was calm, but my head was spinning. She sighed. In that way she did when she was a teenager, and I tried to give her advice. Dad, Tyler already talked to you. There's no need to complicate things. I'm not complicating things. I just want to understand why, after 16 years of tradition, I suddenly became persona non grata at my own family's Christmas. Sarah shifted uncomfortably in her chair. It's nothing personal, Dad. It's just... Look, do you want the truth? Tyler's going through a phase. He wants to impress his new girlfriend, wants to seem independent in front of his friends. Having his grandfather around kind of kills the vibe. Break the vibe. I repeated the words slowly. In other words, I embarrass you. It's not a shame, Dad, she protested too quickly. It's just that you have a somewhat old-fashioned way of looking at things. Tyler's trying to fit into a new group, and his friends are all from families that have, how can I say, a different lifestyle. What kind of lifestyle, Sarah? She took a deep breath. Dad, Tyler's girlfriend's family has real money. Her father owns a car dealership. Her mother is a doctor. They spend Christmas skiing in Colorado or at expensive resorts. And Tyler wants to show that our family is like that too. The penny dropped, like a piano being dropped from the 10th floor. So the problem isn't that I'm old. The problem is that I'm not rich enough. That's not it, Dad. That's exactly it, Sarah. My voice hardened. You want to project an image of a successful family, and I ruin the picture. The old retired accountant who lives in a simple house, drives a 2018 Civic, doesn't talk about trips to Europe, and doesn't own Tiffany jewelry. Sarah blushed. Dad, you're being dramatic. I'm being realistic. I stood up and went to the drawer where I kept my bank statements. Sarah, do you know how much money I've spent on you guys over the last 4 years? Dad, this has nothing to do with it. $85,000. I threw the papers on the table. $85,000 from my retirement fund to finance Tyler's lifestyle, so he can have the latest iPhone, wear designer clothes, go to private school, and now that he has all that, now that he's become a modern young man with my money, I who pay the bill have become embarrassing. Sarah looked at the papers as if she were seeing a snake. Dad, we've always been grateful. Grateful, I laughed, but without humor. So grateful that you excluded me from Christmas so I wouldn't ruin your image with the rich family. It was there that I realized that gratitude is a word that rich people use when it suits them. Sarah left home that day without the check. For the first time in 4 years, I said no to my family. It wasn't dramatic. There was no yelling. I just looked at her and said, Sarah, this ATM here is out of service. After she left, slamming the door shut, I sat in Linda's armchair and started thinking. 45 years of work, 45 years waking up at 5 a.m., 45 years paying other people's bills before my own. And for what? To become a burden on my own family? I got up, went to the office, and turned on the computer. Time to do what I should have done a long time ago. Put myself first. First thing I did, cancel all automatic payments. Tyler's credit card installment, the school tuition, everything. I called the bank, and in 15 minutes, I was free. 4 years of putting up with ingratitude ended in 15 minutes. Second plan, what to do for Christmas. I wasn't going to stay home feeling sorry for myself, watching old movies and eating Chinese food like Tyler suggested. No way. I was going to have a real Christmas with real people. That's when I remembered Martha. Martha Wilson, 68 years old, widowed for 6 years, had lived next door for 15 years. Always polite, always kind, always offered help when I needed it. When Linda died, she was the one who brought food for 2 weeks straight. When I had pneumonia last year, she was the one who took me to the hospital and stayed with me in the emergency room until the early hours of the morning. True family isn't about blood. It's about who's there when things get tough. I knocked on her door that Thursday, the day before the weekend that would change my life. Martha answered wearing a flowered apron, the smell of cookies wafting from the kitchen. "Hi, Robert. What a nice surprise. Come on in. I just took some cookies out of the oven." "Martha, can I ask you a kind of strange question?" "Sure, darling. Go ahead." I took a deep breath. "Do you have plans for Christmas?" She smiled sadly. "Well, my children are going to spend time with their in-laws in California. I was going to stay here, maybe watch some movies, have a simple dinner. How about we have a Christmas dinner together? I'll cook the turkey, you make your famous cookies, and we can spend Christmas like civilized people do?" Martha's eyes lit up. "Robert, that would be wonderful. But aren't you going to spend it with Sarah and Tyler?" Plans changed. She smiled for the first time in weeks. "This year I'm going to spend Christmas with my real family." It was there that I realized that you choose your family. You don't inherit it. I left Martha's house with a lighter heart. Finally, I was going to have a Christmas with people who wanted me around, not out of obligation or self-interest. A Christmas where I wasn't awkward, old-fashioned, or out of style. A Christmas where Robert was welcome. But before that happened, my family was going to learn a lesson they would never forget. Friday, December 22nd, my phone rang at 7 a.m. Sarah, desperate. "Dad, Tyler's card was declined. We're at the airport and can't pay for the extra baggage. Can you transfer $200 urgently?" I was having a peaceful breakfast, planning my Christmas with Martha. "Sarah, good morning to you too. How was your night?" "Dad, now's not the time for education. We need the money now or we'll miss our flight." "And what's my problem with that?" My voice came out colder than I expected. Silence on the other end. "What do you mean? What's your problem? We're your family." "The family that excluded me from Christmas because I'm embarrassing, remember? The family that decided I don't fit into your young world." "Dad, this is different. This is an emergency." "Sarah, you're going to spend Christmas skiing in Colorado with rich people, right? Surely someone there can lend you $200 for luggage. Or even better, ask Tyler's rich girlfriend's dad, since he's the kind of family you want." "Robert Thompson!" She used my full name, just like she did when she was a child, and wanted to intimidate me. "You can't be that cruel." "Cruel?" I started laughing. "Cruel is excluding your own father from Christmas. Cruel is accepting money for 4 years and then kicking whoever pays the bill. Cruel is raising a grandchild to be ungrateful. I'm not being cruel, Sarah. I'm being smart. We'll talk when I get back." And she hung up. 2 hours later, Tyler called me. First time in weeks he'd contacted me, and what was it about? Money. "Grandpa, for God's sake, Mom said you don't want to help us." "Why?" "Tyler, you yourself said I'm embarrassing and old-fashioned. Is my money embarrassing and old-fashioned too?" "Grandpa, this is completely different. This is about travel, not Christmas." "Ah, I see. My money is for your trips, your clothes, your school, but I'm not worthy of sitting at the same table as you at Christmas." "Is that it?" "Grandpa, you're being dramatic. We just wanted to try something new this year. Try also getting your money in a new way, maybe by asking the father of the rich girlfriend you're so keen to impress. Enter. Tyler, you're 16 years old, but it's time to learn how the world works. No one is obligated to tolerate ingratitude. No one is obligated to support someone who is ashamed of it." It was there that I realized that limits teach more than money. I hung up the phone and finished my coffee. Outside, I saw Martha hanging Christmas decorations on the balcony. She waved to me from the window, a genuine smile of someone who was excited for our Christmas. On the other hand, my family was learning that money doesn't grow on trees, and that respect isn't bought, it's earned. My cell phone rang 3 more times that morning. I didn't answer any of them. While my family struggled at the airport to get money for luggage, I went to the supermarket to buy the ingredients for the best Christmas I'd had in years. A $12 turkey, the best they had. Expensive red wine, the one I'd always wanted to try but never bought because I was always saving for Tyler. Ingredients for the apple pie Linda made, a recipe Martha was going to help me make. At the checkout, I spent $180 on Christmas food, less than I used to spend on Tyler's gift every month. When I got home, the phone was ringing. I let it ring. Tyler had left 5 messages on WhatsApp. I didn't read any of them. Instead, I called Martha. Ready to cook? More than ready. I've already gathered the ingredients for the cookies and made a list of everything we'll need. I spent the whole afternoon in Martha's kitchen, learning how to make gingerbread cookies, chatting about everything and nothing, laughing at silly stories. It had been years since I'd truly laughed, without worrying about bills to pay or favors to do. Martha told me about her children who lived far away, about her husband who died of cancer, about how she learned to live alone but not feel lonely. Loneliness is a choice, Robert. Company is too. At 6 p.m., my phone rang. Sarah, again. Dad, we managed to sort out the luggage, but now I'm worried about you. You can't spend Christmas alone. It's dangerous at your age. Dangerous at my age. 2 days ago, I was awkward and old-fashioned. Now it was dangerous to be alone. How convenient. Sarah, I'm not going to spend it alone. I'm going to spend it with Martha, my neighbor. We're going to have a lovely Christmas dinner, watch classic movies, and talk about interesting things. A civilized Christmas. Martha, Dad, you barely know this woman. I've known her for 15 years. And you know what? In 15 years, she's never asked me for money, never excluded me from anything, never treated me like a burden. Interesting, isn't it? Dad, you're hurt and I understand. But you don't need to be. Sarah, I'm not hurt. I'm happy. For the first time in years, I'm going to spend Christmas with someone who truly wants my company. No ulterior motives, no obligations, just because they like me. Silence on the other end. Have fun skiing. Spend your money, eat caviar, take selfies with rich people. I'll be here eating homemade turkey and fresh cookies with someone who treats me like a human being. It was there that I realized that happiness is priceless, but respect is not discounted. I hung up and went back to Martha's kitchen. She was preparing the dough for the cookies, humming an old song. When she saw me, she smiled. Everything all right, dear? Everything is perfect, Martha. More perfect than it has been in years. That night, for the first time in months, I slept without worrying about bills to pay, without thinking about what my family would need the next day. I fell asleep thinking about the smell of cookies and the genuine smile of someone who was happy just being in my company. On December 25th, I woke up at 7 a.m. Not because someone was calling me asking for money or a favor. I woke up because I was excited. How long had it been since I woke up excited on Christmas Day? The first thing I did was check my phone. 7 missed messages from Sarah, 3 from Tyler. It was obvious that Christmas in Colorado wasn't the paradise they'd imagined. They'd probably discovered that wealthy families also have rules, also demand good behavior, also judge. And what's more, that they weren't going to foot the bill for their extra expenses. I didn't read the messages. It was Christmas, not a day to deal with the problems of ungrateful people. At 9 a.m., I knocked on Martha's door with a tray of coffee and sweet bread. Good morning, Christmas partner. Robert, how wonderful. She was wearing a simple but elegant red dress. Come in. I'll just grab my apron and we can start our party. Martha's kitchen became a command center, turkey marinating, potatoes in the oven, cookies cooling on the counter. We worked side by side like a team that's known each other for years, her passing me ingredients, me chopping vegetables, the two of us laughing at everything and nothing. Robert, it's been a long time since my kitchen has been this lively. Martha smiled as she seasoned the sauce. My children always want to order takeout when they come over. They say it's more convenient, more practical. I nodded. My family also loves practicality. Tyler thinks cooking is for old people. What a shame. Martha stirred the sauce thoughtfully. The best memories are made in the kitchen. At least mine are. At lunchtime, Martha's table was a spectacle. Golden turkey, creamy mashed potatoes, still warm apple pie, exquisitely decorated cookies, 2 lit candles in the center, cloth napkins she had taken from her special occasion trunk. "May I make a toast?" I raised my glass of wine. "Of course, dear. To the best Christmas I've had in years. To the sincere company, the interesting conversation, and the discovery that true family is recognized by affection, not by blood." Martha's eyes welled up with tears. To Robert, who reminded me that solitude is a choice, and that every home is better with laughter inside it. It was there that I realized that joy multiplies when it's shared with those who deserve it. We spent the afternoon watching Miracle on 34th Street, a movie Tyler thought was old people stuff. Martha made sweet popcorn, just like her mother used to when she was a child. We talked about the whole movie, reminisced about other Christmases, and shared stories about our deceased spouses. At 6 p.m., my cell phone started ringing insistently. Sarah. "Answer it, Robert. It could be important." Martha paused the movie. "Dad!" Sarah's voice was desperate. "Where are you? I've called home 1,000 times. I'm at Martha's house, having the best Christmas of my life." "How's Colorado doing?" "Dad, it was awful. Tyler's girlfriend's family is a bunch of snobs. They treated us like poor people, asking about our money, our house, our social status. Tyler was humiliated in front of the girl." I stifled a laugh. "What a shame, Sarah. How can rich people judge others?" "And now, they've canceled our return flight. They said the flight is full and we can only get seats on the 27th. I'm spending a fortune on hotels." "Sarah, that's your problem. You chose this modern Christmas." "Dad, for God's sake, we need your help. You are our family." "Family?" I looked at Martha, who was listening with a worried expression. "Sarah, are you sure you know what family is?" "Dad, stop being dramatic and come pick us up at the airport tomorrow. We'll be back on the first flight." "Sarah, I'm not going to pick you up." Deadly silence on the other end of the line. "What do you mean you're not going to pick us up? You always pick us up at the airport." I always searched. Past tense. Now you're young and independent, remember? You don't need embarrassing old men for anything. Good. Sarah, you made a very clear choice. You said I don't fit into your modern world. So fit in yourselves. Take Uber, taxis, public transport. Feel free. Dad, you can't abandon us like this. Abandoned? Now I really laughed. Sarah, who abandoned whom here? Who excluded whom from Christmas? Who decided that 68 years of age was a reason for shame? Martha touched my arm, looking worried. I signaled that everything was all right. "Tyler is crying, Dad. He was humiliated. His girlfriend broke up with him. He realized he was used by his rich family. He wants to come home." What a shame. My voice came out harsh. Maybe now he understands how I felt when he excluded me from Christmas. Maybe now he knows what it's like to be judged by your social status. Dad, you can't be so cruel to a child. A child? Sarah, you spent 2 weeks telling me he was too young to put up with old people, too mature for old traditions. Now he's a child again? How convenient. It was there that I realized that responsibility only appears when it suits them. Father, I beg you. We made a mistake, we admit it. But you can't punish us like this. Sarah, I'm not punishing anyone. I'm just applying the rule you created. Everyone in their own square. You in the square of modern youth, me in the square of awkward old people. Good. Sarah, you'll manage. You're intelligent, independent, and modern. I'm sure you'll find a practical and youthful solution to your problem. I hung up the phone and looked at Martha, who was visibly worried. Robert, are you sure you're doing the right thing? They seemed desperate. Martha, do you have children? I have 2. Have they ever excluded you from anything because you're too old? Never. She shook her head firmly. They may live far away, but they always include me in everything. They always respect me. So you don't understand what it's like to be treated as a burden by your own family. You don't understand what it's like to endure ingratitude for years. Martha was quiet for a moment. You're right, Robert. I'm sorry. No need to apologize. You only have a decent family. I just had bad luck in the genetic lottery. The phone rang again. Tyler. Grandpa, please, I know I was awful to you. I know I said terrible things, but please don't abandon us here. Tyler. My voice came out softer, because deep down he was still my grandson. You told me Christmas was for young people, that I didn't fit into your world. Why did you change your mind? Because I was an idiot. He was crying. Because I wanted to impress people who are worthless. Because I hurt the only person who ever truly loved me. Tyler, you're 16 years old. 16. Old enough to understand that actions have consequences. Old enough to take responsibility for your words. I admit it, Grandpa. I know I was wrong. Knowing you were wrong doesn't erase the mistake, Tyler. It doesn't bring back the Christmas you stole from me. It doesn't bring back the respect you trampled on. The boy sobbed on the other end of the line. It hurt my chest, but I couldn't give in. Not this time. Tyler, you will go back home, in your own time, with your own money. And when you get there, you'll sit down and think about what you've done. For real. They returned on the 27th, 3 days after Christmas. They borrowed money from Mark's uncles to pay for the hotel and travel. They arrived home humiliated, penniless, and without pride, only to discover that their problems were just beginning. Because while they were in Colorado, learning that wealthy families also discriminate, I was taking other measures. Not just canceling the payments, I was cutting off all the privileges they thought were their rights. On Wednesday, Sarah called me in a hysterical state. Dad, Tyler's school is charging him for overdue tuition. They said he'll be suspended if he doesn't pay by Friday. What an annoying situation. My voice was neutral. Dad, you always pay for school. I always paid. That's in the past. Now the young modern family that excluded me from Christmas will be the ones paying the price. Dad, we don't have that kind of money. So Tyler will have to study at a public school. That school you all thought didn't offer him what he deserved, remember? Thursday. Dad, Tyler's credit card was canceled. He's embarrassing himself in front of his friends. That's a shame. Maybe he'll learn to live within the family budget. Friday. Dad, his English course is due on Monday. It's $800. Tyler speaks fluent English, Sarah. He can skip the course. Dad, you can't do this to us. I'm not doing anything, Sarah. I just stopped doing things. I stopped paying bills that aren't mine. I stopped supporting people who are ashamed of me. I stopped being the ATM for ungrateful families. It was there that I realized that money buys comfort, but it doesn't buy character. On Saturday, Tyler showed up at my door. Not the arrogant Tyler who dumped me 2 weeks earlier. He was a scared boy, with dark circles under his eyes, without the latest iPhone in his hand. Grandpa, can we talk? Sure, come in. He sat on the living room sofa, the same one where he told me I was embarrassing. Grandpa, I came to apologize, really. I'm listening. I was a jerk. I treated you like trash after everything you did for me. I let my girlfriend and friends get to my head. I forgot that you were always there when I needed you. Tyler, you're 16 years old. At 16, I was already working to help my mother. You're old enough to know the difference between right and wrong. I know, Grandpa, and I made the wrong choice. I chose to impress people who ultimately didn't really care about me. What happened in Colorado? Tyler took a deep breath. They found out that we don't have the same amount of money as they do. They asked about my mother's job, about our house, about how much we earn. When they saw that we're middle class, they completely changed their minds. How did they change? They stopped being nice. My girlfriend started avoiding being alone with me. Her parents made comments about our clothes, our luggage, the way we spoke. I felt like trash, Grandpa. So, did you understand how I felt when you excluded me for not being sophisticated enough? Tyler started to cry. Yes, Grandpa. I understand perfectly, and it was awful. Tyler, pain teaches. Humiliation teaches. You needed to learn that discrimination is wrong no matter the reason. I learned, Grandpa. I swear I learned. Can you forgive me? I looked at my grandson, the boy I taught to ride a bike, the one I took to his first day of school, who grew up in my lap. He had made some terrible mistakes, but he was still a child learning to be a person. Tyler, I forgive you. I will always forgive you because you are my grandson. But forgiveness doesn't mean things will go back to the way they were. What do you mean, Grandpa? You're going to have to earn my respect again. You're going to have to prove that you've truly changed, not just because you're broke. Grandpa, what do I need to do for us to be a family again? First, stop calling me embarrassing, old-fashioned, or any other adjective that suggests my age is a flaw. Promised. Second, include me in family activities, even when your friends are present. Don't hide me as if I were a dirty secret. Also promised. Third, treat me like an intelligent adult, not like a dumb ATM. Ask for my opinion, respect my experience, value my knowledge. Tyler nodded vigorously. And fourth, Tyler, never again exclude me from Christmas, birthdays, or any family event for social reasons. If you're ashamed of me, that's your problem, not mine. I'll never be ashamed of you again, Grandpa, I promise. Tyler, promises are easy. Action is what's difficult. Then give me a chance to show my attitude. I stared at the boy for a few seconds. Tyler, do you really want a second chance? I want it so much. Then I'll give you one, but on certain conditions. What conditions? First, you're going to get a part-time job. You're going to learn what it means to earn your own money. All good. Secondly, you'll save money from your salary to pay for some of your own expenses. Cell phone, clothes, entertainment. Okay. Third, if you want to continue in private school, you and your mother will have to split the tuition with me. I'm not going to pay alone anymore. Tyler hesitated. We don't have the money for that, Grandpa. So you study in a public school, just like millions of young Americans do. It's not going to kill you. But Grandpa, public school, Tyler, public schools have produced doctors, engineers, lawyers, and presidents. The problem isn't the school, it's the attitude of those who study there. It was there that I realized that privilege only teaches you when it is taken away. Fourth, you're going to help me with Martha. She's my friend now. She's part of my life. If you want to be in my life, you'll have to accept her too. The neighbor? The neighbor who treats me with respect. The neighbor who insisted on my company at Christmas. The neighbor who reminds me what it means to be valued. Tyler was quiet for a moment. She likes you? She likes me as a friend, Tyler, and I like her. At 68, true friendship is worth more than gold. Okay, Grandpa. I accept all the conditions. Tyler, one last thing. You're going to have to talk to your mother and convince her to apologize to me. Really. Not an apology to make money. An apology because she was wrong. She's going to accept. If she wants me to continue being her father, she'll accept it. If she prefers to see me only as a provider, then she doesn't need to worry about me anymore. Tyler left home that Saturday with a list of conditions and one last chance. I didn't know if he would be able to fulfill them. I didn't know if Sarah would swallow her pride. But one thing I knew. I would never again be used by an ungrateful family. The time for being a fool was over. The following Monday, I received a call from Steve Morrison, the owner of the sporting goods store where Tyler always bought expensive sneakers. Steve was an acquaintance of mine for decades, one of the few honest merchants left in the city. Robert, are you aware that Tyler owes money here at the store? What do you mean by owing, Steve? Last week he came here, bought a pair of $300 sneakers, said you'd come by to pay at the end of the month. Like always. Except this time you didn't show up. My blood boiled. Steve, I canceled all of Tyler's accounts in December. I'm not paying him anything anymore. That's what I thought. So the boy lied. He lied blatantly. Now what? Well, either he returns the sneakers or someone pays the bill. Otherwise, I'll have to report it as theft. Steve, do what you think you should do. Tyler is 16 years old enough to face the consequences of his actions. An hour later, Tyler called me, crying. Grandpa, Steve's threatening to call the police. He says I committed theft. You really messed up, Tyler. You took a product saying I was going to pay for it, without my authorization. That's fraud. But Grandpa, I thought that… You didn't find anything, Tyler. You knew I had revoked your privileges. You tried to use me without permission. What do I do now? Give the sneakers back and apologize to Steve, and hope he doesn't sue you. But Grandpa, everyone will know. My friends will find out I'm broke. It was there that I realized that shame educates better than speeches. Tyler, your friends are going to find out you're a liar and dishonest, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe you need better friends. Tyler had to walk 3 blocks to Steve's store in front of his schoolmates, carry the shoebox back, and publicly apologize. The story spread throughout the city in a matter of hours. On Wednesday, Sarah showed up at my house furious. Dad, Tyler's become the laughingstock of the school. Everyone knows he had to return his sneakers because he didn't have the money. Action and consequence, Sarah. He tried to defraud me. He got caught. He paid the price. Dad, you could have handled this discreetly. You could have paid Steve and talked to Tyler privately. He could have, but he didn't want to. Tyler needs to learn that lying has a price. You're destroying the boy's self-esteem. Sarah, self-esteem based on lies isn't self-esteem. It's an illusion. Tyler needs to build self-esteem based on honesty and hard work. Dad, everyone's talking about it. His friends' mothers are asking if we're having a hard time. And you're going through a hard time, Sarah. Hardship living within your budget, hardship accepting that you're not rich, hardship treating your family with respect. Sarah turned red with anger. Dad, that's cruel. You're humiliating us on purpose. Sarah, humiliation is when you do something wrong and the world finds out. I didn't humiliate Tyler. I just stopped protecting him from the consequences of his choices. Good. Sarah, you've spent years humiliating me in private, calling me embarrassing, old-fashioned, excluding me from family events. Now you're being humiliated in public. Don't you like the taste? Sarah started to cry. Dad, I admit we were wrong. But what you're doing is revenge. No, Sarah. Revenge would be me inventing lies about you, spreading gossip, destroying your reputation for no reason. I'm just letting the truth come out. What truth? The truth is that you're a middle-class family living beyond your means at my expense. The truth is that you mistreated whoever paid the bills. The truth is that Tyler is a liar, and you're ungrateful. It was there that I realized that truth hurts more than revenge. After 2 weeks of public humiliation, of Tyler having to explain to half the school why he returned his sneakers, of Sarah having to endure questions from a neighbor about financial difficulties, they finally understood that I wasn't kidding. Sarah knocked on my door on a rainy Thursday without Tyler this time. She looked different. No elaborate makeup, no expensive clothes, no air of a successful woman. She seemed humble. Dad, can we talk? For real this time. Come in, Sarah. She sat in the room and remained silent for a few seconds, as if she were organizing her words. Dad, I came to apologize. I'm listening. Not a self-serving excuse for you to start paying our bills again. A sincere apology for the way we treated you. I cross my arms. Continue. Dad, I was a terrible daughter. I let Tyler disrespect you. I let Mark treat you like a nuisance. I let my own greed speak louder than my love for you. Sarah, what changed? Why this conversation today? She took a deep breath. Because Tyler came home crying yesterday. Do you know why? Account. Because he discovered that the only person who truly cared about him at school was Jenny, a girl from a simple family whom he had always ignored. She was the only one who didn't mock him when he had to return the sneakers, the only one who offered help when he was embarrassed. And he realized he had wasted 4 years ignoring a true friendship to chase after superficial people, just like I wasted years ignoring a wonderful father to chase after social status. Sarah started to cry, but without drama. It was genuine crying. Dad, you raised a daughter alone. You worked twice as hard to give me an education, to give me dignity. And how did I repay you? By using you as an ATM and excluding you when it wasn't convenient. Sarah. Dad, I look at you now and I see a 68-year-old man who deserved to be surrounded by love, respect, and a family that values his wisdom. And instead, you're alone because I, your own daughter, preferred to impress strangers rather than love my father. It was there that I realized that true repentance hurts the one who asks for forgiveness. Sarah, what do you want from me? I want a chance to be a real daughter again. Not a self-serving daughter, not a daughter who only calls when she needs money. A daughter who includes you in her life because she loves you, not because she owes you something. And Tyler? What's his role in all of this? Tyler wants to work, Dad. Really. He understands that earned money is more valuable than money asked for, and he wants to meet you again, as a grandson who respects you. Is that Mark? Sarah grimaced. Mark is still processing. He doesn't like it when he can't control the situation. But he'll have to accept that you've become a priority in my life again. I stared at my daughter for a few minutes. She was really different. She lacked the arrogance of recent years, the certainty that I would always be there to solve her problems. Sarah, if I give you this second chance, it's going to have to be my way. I accept. First condition, you're going to get to know Martha properly. She's part of my life now, and whoever wants me will have to accept her. All good. Second condition, no expensive gifts that I can't afford, no luxurious trips that will bankrupt me. If you want to do something with me, it will be within my budget. Combined. Third condition, Tyler gets a job, you find a way to pay your own bills, and Mark stops treating me like an employee in my own family. Dad, this could take a while. Sarah, I waited 4 years for respect. Now you can wait as long as it takes to earn my trust again. 3 months after that conversation, my life was completely different. Tyler had gotten a job at a diner, working after school and on weekends. At first he complained that it was poor people's work, but after receiving his first paycheck, he changed his tune. Grandpa, can you believe I earned $280 this week, money that is mine? And how does it feel? Incredible. I bought a shirt with my money. It seems to be worth more than the shirts you used to buy for me. It was there that I realized that one's own sweat season's better than the favor of others. Sarah had gone back to working part-time after 2 years of taking care of the house, which really meant spending my money shopping. Mark still hadn't adjusted to the new reality, but at least he stopped ignoring me when I visited. And Martha had become an official part of the family. Sarah was initially jealous, thinking that another woman was stealing her father. But when she got to know Martha properly, she discovered that she was exactly what she needed. Sincere companionship, without ulterior motives, without drama. Dad, Martha is a wonderful person, Sarah told me one Sunday afternoon, after the 4 of us had lunch together. She's good for you. It really does. And do you know why? Why? Because she wants me around without wanting anything in return. She laughs at my bad jokes, listens to my repeated stories, includes me in her plans. Martha treats me the way I've always treated you. Sarah lowered her eyes, embarrassed. But the most impressive change was in Tyler. The boy who used to call me embarrassing had become my weekend companion. He would come over every Saturday to help me with gardening, house repairs, and talk about life. Grandpa, can I ask you something? Sure, Tyler. How did you put up with us for so long? How did you not give up on us sooner? I stopped pruning the rose bush and looked at my grandson. He had changed a lot. He had lost that arrogance of a rich teenager and gained the humility of someone who works to earn his own living. Tyler, his parents and grandparents can endure a lot before giving up, but everyone has their limits. And did we go beyond your limit at Christmas? They went too far. Excluding me from Christmas was the last straw. After years of supporting you, you dismissed me as a burden. Grandpa, I was an idiot teenager who wanted to impress people who were worthless. Tyler, the teenager, makes a mistake. The problem is the adult who doesn't teach limits. Are you talking about Mom? I'm talking about myself. I should have set limits for you years ago. I should have taught you responsibility instead of indulging your every whim. Grandpa, you did this because you love us. I did it because I love you. Past tense. Now I love you in a different way. Like this. Now I love you all demanding that you respect me. Love without respect becomes exploitation, Tyler. I learned that at 68 years old. It was there that I realized that love isn't about giving everything. It's about teaching how to deserve it. Tyler was quiet for a moment, processing. Grandpa, can you teach me how to be a decent man? I don't want to become a guy who uses his family. I can. First lesson, an honest man pays his own bills. Second lesson, a decent man treats his parents like kings, not like servants. And third, an honest man recognizes when he is wrong and truly changes, not just when it suits him. Tyler smiled. I'm learning these three, Grandpa. A year after that Christmas that changed everything, December arrived again. But this time, nobody excluded me from anything. On the contrary, Tyler was the first to ask what I wanted to do for Christmas. Grandpa, this year Christmas is going to be different. We want you to choose everything. The place, the food, the activities, everything. Tyler, are you sure? I'm kind of old-fashioned in my traditions. Grandpa, he laughed. Old-fashioned is the best kind of thing. Real tradition, not this modern nonsense we invented. We decided to have Christmas at home, my house. A simple dinner, roast turkey, homemade mashed potatoes, apple pie. Sarah and Martha cooking together. Tyler helping me set the table. Mark even tried a few jokes. Robert, can I say something? Mark looked for me in the kitchen while the women were in the living room. He can. I want to apologize for the way I've treated you all these years. I treated you like a bank, not like a father-in-law. I looked at Mark. He was different too. Less arrogant, less self-righteous. Mark, what changed your opinion of me? Two things. First, seeing how Tyler changed after you stopped giving him money. He became a responsible, hard-working, respectful boy. And Monday? Seeing how much happier Sarah has become since you two made up. She used to be stressed and feeling guilty, even if she wouldn't admit it. Now she's at peace. Mark, I don't want to be a boring father-in-law. I just want to be treated like a human being. You deserve better than this, Robert. You deserve to be treated like the patriarch of the family. It was there that I realized that respect wins more hearts than money. At dinner time, I asked to make a toast. Family, I want to raise a toast to the year that changed our lives, to the year that taught us that love without respect doesn't work, to the year that showed us that family is built with attitude, not just blood. Grandpa, Tyler raised his glass of soda. I want to raise a toast to you for having the patience to teach me how to be a decent person, and I want to apologize again for being a terrible grandson. Dad, Sarah's eyes welled up with tears. I raise a toast to the man who raised me alone, who loves me enough to set boundaries when I need them, and who gave me a second chance to be a decent daughter. Martha, who was now a part of all our events, smiled. I raise a toast to Robert, who showed me that at 68 you can still have a new family. I looked around the table. Tyler was wearing a shirt he'd bought himself with his own salary. Sarah was relaxed, without the pressure of maintaining an appearance she couldn't afford. Mark was treating me as an equal. Martha was smiling genuinely. "Do you know what I learned this year?" I said to the whole table. "I learned that it's never too late to teach respect. I learned that true love sometimes needs to be tough, and I learned that a real family rejoices in your company, but doesn't tolerate your presence." "Grandpa," Tyler asked, "do you regret being so hard on us?" "Tyler, I regret taking so long to be tough on you guys. If I had set boundaries sooner, you would have learned respect years ago. And now, Grandpa, are we on the right track?" "You're on the right track. Working, respecting, including, and being grateful. It's become a real family." Sarah took my hand. "Dad, thank you for not giving up on us." "Sarah, I never gave up on you. I just stopped accepting disrespect." That night, when everyone had left, I sat in Linda's armchair and thought about Christmas the previous year. Alone, excluded, treated as a burden, and now, included, respected, valued. The difference? I learned to say no. 6 months after that renewed Christmas, my life had settled into a routine I never thought possible. Tyler was in his senior year of high school, working and saving for his own future. Sarah had gone back to working full-time and was paying her own bills. And Mark was still learning, but at least he didn't treat me like furniture anymore. But the most important lesson came one afternoon in March, when Tyler brought a friend home. "Grandpa, this is Jake. Remember I told you about him?" Jake was a shy boy from a humble family whom Tyler had met at work. Before, Tyler would never have brought a poor person home. Now he was proud to introduce a friend who valued character over wealth. "Nice to meet you, Mr. Thompson." "Tyler talks about you a lot." "Nice to meet you, Jake. Make yourself at home." While the boys were playing video games, Jake came looking for me in the kitchen. "Mr. Thompson, may I ask a question?" "Of course, son." "Tyler told me that you two had some problems last year, but that everything's fine now. He said you taught him how to be a decent man. How did you do that?" I looked at the boy. He was genuinely curious. He wasn't being intrusive. "Jake, do you have a family?" "Yes, I do." "My mother raises us alone." "And how does she teach you respect?" "With limits, right? If I mess up, she cuts my allowance, punishes me, and makes me face the consequences. So now you know how to teach respect. Boundaries." "But Tyler said you stopped everything for him. Expensive school, nice clothes, money whenever he needed it. How could you have the heart to cut it all off?" It was there that I realized my story could help other families. "Jake, do you want to know the truth? I should have cut it off sooner. I should have taught Tyler to work from a young age, to value what he earned, to treat me with respect." "But you did that because you loved him, right?" "I did. But love without limits leads to destruction." Tyler became an arrogant, disrespectful, self-serving boy. Not because he was bad, but because I didn't teach him boundaries. Jake became thoughtful. "My mother always says that giving everything creates a tyrant." His mother is wise. Tyler turned into a little tyrant. He demanded things, didn't say thank you, and excluded whoever paid the bill. And how did you teach him to change? I stopped paying. Simple as that. When Tyler wanted $300 sneakers, he had to work to buy them. When he wanted to go out with friends, he had to pay out of his own pocket. And did he change quickly? Things changed when he discovered that his own work is worth more than someone else's favor. Things changed when he understood that respect is not optional. Jake nodded. "Mr. Thompson, can I tell you a secret?" "Of course." I was kind of afraid to be friends with Tyler. I thought he was one of those rich kids who uses others. And now? Now I see that he is truly humble. He shares his food with me at work, includes me in his plans, and doesn't want anything in return for our friendship. Jake, that's the difference between a boy who works and a boy who only receives. Work teaches values. That night, after the boys left, I called Martha. Martha, do you think our story could help other parents? What do you mean, Robert? How many parents do you know who are being exploited by their own children? How many grandparents are supporting ungrateful grandchildren? Martha was quiet for a moment. Many, Robert. Many indeed. So perhaps our experience can serve as an example, to show that it's never too late to teach limits. Do you want to write about this? I want to share this. I want other parents to know that love isn't about giving everything, that respect is taught by cutting privileges when necessary. Robert, you've changed your entire family's life. Tyler has become a wonderful boy. Sarah has become a devoted daughter. Even Mark has improved. And do you know what the secret was, Martha? Which? I stopped being afraid of losing their love. When you stop being afraid of losing, you gain the courage to demand respect. It was there that I realized that fear of abandonment creates true abandonment. And speaking of families that exclude you at Christmas time, you won't believe what happened to the protagonist of the next story. Imagine being left out of your own family's Christmas for years, until one day you inherit a cabin and become the one who decides who gets in and who stays out in the cold. The revenge he planned was so perfect that the whole family had to beg forgiveness in the snow. Click on the video that's playing on the screen now. My family left me out of Christmas for years. Now I get to choose who gets in my cabin. You have to see this twist.